everyone, and welcome to part two of our Young Entrepreneurs service. Can everyone hear me? We hear each other. Perfect. We've got our interviewees here with us, and we have some questions that we have lined up ready to ask them. We have our Elder Kanyango here, and Mr. and Mrs. Adams. We also have Elder Mufaro and Deacon Joe Kondishora. So first off, I will just ask and welcome Elder Kanyango. I'll give a brief background as to his profile. He owns Cresta Healthcare Company, and they've owned 2012, and they work mostly in the healthcare sector. And so, just first question I'd like to ask is, what inspired you to start Home Cresta Healthcare Company?
Greetings to you, Rejoice, and thank you very much for having me. And it's a great privilege and an honor. What inspired me to start Cresta Healthcare basically is the way I grew up was not so privileged. So it happened that when I finished my O levels, that's what you call GCSEs here, I didn't do very well, and I had people that spoke negatively upon my life, and they told me that I wasn't going to make it. They told me that I would end up being, one person who was going to be in crime, or somebody who was going to be begging. And I remember sitting down and crying and saying, Lord, change my story. I want to be somebody who is going to be employing people, and I want to run my own business. So from then, I decided that eventually in my life, I will not be working for anyone. I then came to the United Kingdom. I managed to get myself on track with my education. And as soon as I qualified with my degree in nursing, I then decided that when to work for anyone else, I was going to start my own business. And that's when Cresta Healthcare was established, 2010. And we've been on the journey since then.
Wow. And you mentioned that you did a degree in nursing. How much of your degree helped you in, I guess, shaping or building your company and your business?
In fact, if I can track back, in 2004, 2003, I started a company, and it was a nursing agency. So we were supplying nurses to nursing homes. It was a mental health private home. I wasn't registered then. So it came a time that they wanted to see my registration. And back then, to be registered with the body that was there, it was called CISCI, you needed to be a registered nurse. So because I wasn't a registered nurse then, I had to fold the business and I lost the contract. That's what then made me to go into nursing. I said I saw that there was potential for business, but if the education was going to stand in my way, then I had to get the qualifications I needed. So I then looked for a university, and I went to, back then it was Thames Valley University. I think now it's University of West London. That's when I then attend my degree in mental health. Lo and behold, by the time I finished my degree, things had changed. You did not need to be a nurse anymore to register with the Care Quality Commission. Anyone could register, but it was an advantage for me because those 3 years that I spent in university, they shaped my understanding, they shaped me, and gave me a knowledge and a base that I then used to start to start Cresta and venture into domiciliary care, and other branches that we are now venturing.
Okay. And so your company, what, as you saying, you do domiciliary care, what other sectors or in healthcare in your company do you also do?
So currently, we have a resource-based center for young adults and children with autism and learning difficulties. We also have a supported living accommodation that we provide for with what we call a step down for adults with mental health who are ready to engage into the community after having spent time in a mental health hospital or any mental health institution and have received their treatment, and they are ready to engage into the community, but still they need to be having an accommodation and some care and support in order
Mm.
for them to manage. So that is what we are now venturing into now. So we have the domiciliary care, and we have the resource-based center for autism and learning difficulties, and then the supported accommodation.
Wow. So it's grown quite extensively in terms of, I guess, specializing in the areas that you provide services for as well.
Steadily,
Yeah.
we
Yes. In the process of just building up your company, what sort of challenges did you face along the way, apart from like the barriers of maybe like educate? What other barriers did you face?
um, the challenge was real
Mhm.
in terms of I had to try and build. When I started the business, I did not have a good financial uh, backing or cash flow in order to run the business. So it was what was coming in, having to manage that and making sure that it is what you use to then develop the business. Most people, when they go into business, they have saved money somewhere,
Mm.
uh, but because the way that I started, I had not saved any money. So the process of having the business grow financially and be financially stable was a great challenge, but it was a learning curve for us, which we have gained much knowledge and experience in shaping a business from scratch. If somebody tells me today, do you need to have money to start a business? I might say no, but I will say you need some cash flow in order for you to avoid some of the challenges that arise along the way. Um, with our business, mostly the challenges that you face is around recruitment. It has a high retention in terms of recruitment. So you have to constantly be advertising so that you manage to grow your business. With domiciliary care, it's more about having more hours that you cover. So in order for you to have those hours, you need to have at least a good base of staffing levels that you need to have. So those are some of the challenges that you face on a day to day. But with a good working strategy, you're able to then, pull through.
Perfect. Looking at currently how things are moving in the current in the healthcare sector, how has the current situation and environment impacted your business? I know in a healthcare setting, it's been very demanding and it's been a lot of priorities and putting things in place. So how has it impacted your business and in what ways have you had to adapt to the current settings?
Uh, I would say that when one thing in a situation when one situation turns bad, there is always the other side of the coin or the other side of the situation where there are advantages. So the current climate has been a negative one for some people, but for us it has been one that we are managing well, and we are capitalizing on.
Mm,
Uh, with most companies that are closing down, there is an opportunity for you to advertise for people to find employment. And I find that this time around, most people don't have choices now
yeah.
because not every sector is open. Uh, but bills, livelihood, and needs still remain. So someone is
Yeah.
forced to look for a job somewhere in order for them to fend for their families, in order for them to fend for their livelihood. So we have managed to advertise we've managed to change our recruitment strategy, and offer some trainings, offer different packs to those that are willing to come into the healthcare sector and start a new career in the healthcare. And that has been, steadily giving us a good advantage. In terms of the challenges that you have with dom care is that, and one of the advantages is now that hospitals are not really advocating for people to stay in hospitals. They would rather have looked after in their homes. So that means that unless it's a serious situation, unless this condition is very serious, then people are admitted in hospital. But if it's something that can be managed at home, at the moment you find that they want care at home, and it's an advantage for somebody to receive care in their own home rather than going in hospital, because the belief is that the rate of one catching the infection or catching an infection in is higher than one catching an infection in their own home. So work then becomes available for us to get business that way, to get more clients that way. So that has been an advantage. In terms of disadvantages, prices of commodities, that we use, like PPEs and everything, has gone up. Which means that we are now having to try and see how best we can source and how negotiate with our suppliers, or find new suppliers whom you can negotiate to get supplies at a lower rate or a lower price. Because at the moment, those that are manufacturing, those that make the PPEs, those are the guys that are praising God all the way to the bank, because their demand is high. For us who buy them, we find that the prices are so high, and you now have to try and balance your expenditure based on your expenditure versus your income, and at the end of the day, are you going to make a profit? So we are looking at a situation where you no longer just buy things as you did before. You really need to make sure it's value for money that you're getting.
Right. A lot of young people, or people just nowadays, talk about networking, and in terms of like having good connections or knowing who to speak to for when you want to start up business, or if you want to become an entrepreneur or go into a certain sector or do something. So what sort of networking did you do, or what sort of connections did you have to build in order to also set up your business?
First of all, I would like to thank our father, Dr. E.H. Guti, vision that he brought about for the UKCBF or the ACBF, and it was during the UKCBF, its inception in the United Kingdom, that I started my business. So there I found people who were already in the healthcare that gave me a lot of advice, that mentored me in setting up a business, and it was a useful tool for me. It allowed me to network with people from different backgrounds as well. And I think that as a young entrepreneur, you can never go this journey of getting into any form of business without finding networks, without connecting with people. We have social media. Social media is a very good platform to network. And I don't know how many groups I'm involved in on Facebook, where you find people who are either starting the business, people who are already in the business, and people who are ready to give advice. And so I spent a lot of time on the social media networking. There are also other organizations that provide morning, tea meetings or coffee meetings, where you can just network. Local authorities normally do that, and I have been involved in quite a lot of those meetings where professionals come together in the healthcare sector, and and you advertise your business and you tell them who you are, what you're doing. You find commissioners are there. You find managers are there. You find recruiters are also there. So you then get to network and share your business and get business ideas, and from there. So I would say that depending on, I mean, with depending on which business platform, business sector you're going into, find out the networking groups that are there. Find out who is who. Find out the influential people within the business in your local, it could be in your town, in your local authority, or in your country, and never uh, underestimate your ability to sell yourself. You have to
Mm.
sell yourself. You have to be able to articulate uh, who you are, what you're doing, and what you hope to achieve. Because if I'm going to buy into your business, I have to be very sure that the person I'm buying into knows what they're doing. So take
Mhm.
time and understand the field that you're going into, the market you're going into, study your market, and when you begin to network, you are somebody who is knowledgeable of what they're talking about, can answer any question, can convince any person, and by so doing, I'm positive that you'll get a breakthrough.
That's really great. Yeah, I agree. Like having that sort of knowledge and being confident with the idea that you have in yourself, so that the person who you're trying to sell yourself to can be confident in who you are. So it does really, it does sound quite, really good. So with the future of healthcare, what are possible business plans going into the future?
Going into the future, this might sound harsh, but I pray that people continue becoming unwell.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but on a serious note, going into business, the healthcare business, you find that irregardless, even if today people are well, you find that there is always somebody who needs help one way or the other. And healthcare has always been a sector that is changing. Looking back in the 2000 into and coming into now that we are 2020, the age we were told that there was the World War I, World War II kind of age group that was now passing over, and we have now a new age group that is coming of old people. But I have always seen that there is always going to be somebody somewhere who needs help, somebody somewhere who needs to be assisted at home, and as much as we believe that you know people will, from a Christian background, I'm a true believer that God is the healer. Uh, but we are living in a world where healthcare is key. So for us is to grow our business into a nationwide and open branches across the country. For us is to ensure that with supported accommodation, we also move into acquiring properties as well as building our supported accommodation, step down houses, and making sure that we offer a bespoke kind of service where they will get all they need in under one roof. And by the time a person comes to stay with us, they will then have to, the help that they need to regain their confidence, to regain their ability. There's one thought that then one idea that I borrowed and that I'm borrowing. I don't mind sharing it on this platform from our father when we built Docker's Hospital. People come and they get the medical help, but at the same time they come, and those that want the spiritual help will get there. So it's getting everything under one roof, and that is an idea that we're building on, that if a person with mental health comes, by the time that they are with us and they are in our service, they have to get a holistic service that will cater for the whole being.
Oh, that's a very big vision, and we hope that it all works out for you. Thank you so much. I will now just leave it to Chairman Gift to interview our next panelist.
Wow, wonderful! Thank you so much, Sister Rejoice. I can see our viewers. If you're watching, I just want to remind you once again that it's our day 2 of North London Province Young Entrepreneurs. So tonight is what we've got Elder Mufaro. I'll just read his profile just before asking some questions so that we know who we are talking to. So Elder Phil was born and bred in Mufako, Zimbabwe, and he came to Christ at the age of 13 as a young generation. He was later ordained an elder whilst he was still a youth. He is happily married to Elder Jackie and blessed with 3 handsome boys. They have been both youth advisors, chairing elders for 18 years. He holds a BSc Homes degree in biomedical science. Elder Phil developed to be successful entrepreneur through School of Talents. Both and wife are directors of MQ Healthcare UK and have property portfolio in UK and abroad. Elder Phil believes that faith without works cannot yield results, and as Christians, we must be result oriented. So we just want to say welcome to you, Elder Phil, this evening. And we just want to say, we just read obviously from your profile that you come from humble beginnings. So we just want to know, because we've got a lot of young people who are watching this evening and who are looking to be inspired. So can you just tell us what inspired you to start your healthcare business?
Thank you, Chairman Gift and North London Province for inviting me and making me one of the panelists. What I would say, what drove me to start this business is simply poverty. I was born and bred in poverty, and I know what poverty is. So because of that, that's what drove me to start a business. And also, I started my business with my wife in 2016, after having looked at my kids who are now teenagers. I've got 2 teenagers, and I also did a research in our church. Having been an advisor for quite a long time, I've seen children growing in church and marrying. But then I saw there was a difference between those children in Africa who were growing in Africa to become parents and those who are growing here where we are now to become parents. So I would say one of the things that also drove me to start this business was looking at my kids and looking at the children in my church. I would just say a bit that if you look at our parents, including myself, there's my generation of parents, and then there's the generation of those that I look at as parents who are also in the church. You will find out that when we all migrated from Zimbabwe or anywhere in Africa coming to UK, the government of UK, they wanted our parents and not our children. So if you look at the Jamaicans today, those that came in the Windrush were the wanted ones by this nation of UK, such that when they came, they were given jobs and they did work what they wanted. But the government forgot the children that were to be given birth by the Windrush generation. And today we have got the Jamaicans whom we say Majama in Shona. If you look at those Majama today, a big percentage of them, they are either not employed, or they are not running a successful business, or they are not doing anything. Some of them, they've gone to an extent of not wanting to educate themselves. You know why? They've realized that even if they educated themselves, they are not going to get into the jobs, or they are not going to be employed and get into better positions at work. So now I'm looking at my generation. We are bringing up children here. So I realized that one thing that we need to do as parents is to create our mini economy that is going to sustain my children and our children. So this is one of the things that drove me to start a company. I'm looking at my kids, that at least I need to lay something for them so they have something to start from. Because I don't want to have the majamas in my family. I want to have kids who have got somewhere to start. Thank you.
Wonderful. We can see that from what you're saying, that you were inspired, and it was, like you said, it was simply poverty that drove you into starting a business, and what inspired you. And obviously, you can see from what you say that you want a better future for your children and all that. So we just want to know. So now we know why you obviously got into business and why you started a business. We want to know as well, how long did it take for your business to take off, and what steps did you take for your business to be successful, for you to be where you are right now, and for you to be a partner here for us asking you these questions. How long did it take for your business for it to take off, and what steps did you have to take for it to take off?
Thank you. So for my business to take off, it took almost 3 years. 3 good years, it was hand to mouth. In other words, we were still at break even. So in those 3 years, it took hard work. So I had to build a foundation for the business. Every successful business should have a very good foundation. I always tell my children who are 15 and 13 that this is the time where you need to build a foundation for your future. If you fail to build a strong foundation in your teens, forget about it when you are in 20s. So at this time, that's where you need to build a foundation. So in other words, I believe in a strong foundation. So 3 good years I was working, if I tell you, from 6 a.m. and probably getting home around 11 p.m. That was me. And I'm talking of Monday to Sunday, at times missing services. So it was all about working hard. Because if you go in the book of Genesis, the Bible talks of God creating a man, and then he planted the Garden of Eden. So the Garden of Eden was not created. It was planted by God. And then God gave a man called Adam 2 jobs to do. 1, to look after the garden, and 2, to guard it. So looking after and guarding, it means work. So when we are talking of working, it starts way back in the times of Adam. So if you don't believe in working hard for a business to become a strong business, forget about being successful or making it in life. So first 3 years of my life, it was all building, working and working and working. And after 3 years, that's when we started to see the results.
Wow, wonderful. I see here you're talking about for the first 3 years, it was building and working hard to building up your business. But we just want to know, since we're talking to young people, we know obviously that you're married and you've got kids. So how did you balance it, being able to work and being able to look after your kids as well, and being able to start business at the same time as well? So can you just tell us how you managed to do it? Because we've got a lot of young people who are listening who don't have any kids. So we know, that would actually inspire them to know, someone who is married, who's got kids, was able to balance the work and the kids. So we just want to know how you did it. How did you manage to balance work and being able to be a parent at the same time?
Thank you. My advice to the youths is start now before you have any kids. It was not easy. Several times I had to sit down with my children and my wife and tell them that, guys, I'm doing this for you. What I'm doing, you are not seeing me for you are not seeing me here for some time, I know, but I'm doing it for you. So they had to go with that understanding that dad is struggling, is building a foundation for us. So it was more of talking to them, assuring them that I'm still there for them, but in this short time, I have to build a good foundation. And once it's built, then you'll be seeing me every day. So I'll tell my children that it's going to come a time where we'll be having dinner together, where we'll be going for lunches together, where I will be taking you to school. And that time came. Now, after 3 years, every night I'm having dinner with my kids. Every day I'm taking my kids to school to and fro. The time has come. So it's not easy to balance the two. One suffered. And unfortunately, during the foundation time, my kids suffered.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we can see how hard work pays. And obviously our young people are learning that you should start now, because if you try to start later when you got kids, it's going to be a lot harder. So we just want to know, as children of God, we know we're into business, but as children of God as well, we just want to know, how have the teachings of Archbishop Professor E.H. Goodyear helped you in the way you run your businesses?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like that. So I came to Forward in Faith at the age of 13, very poor. But from then I was taught talent. Right. I'll quickly read what our father says in the book of talent. He says, talent is a school given to the believers or saints of Zayoja Forward in Faith. In this school, they are taught how to use their hands. So remember, they are taught how to use their hands and become entrepreneurs. So the problem is when you stay in the school of talent and not graduate to become an entrepreneur. So I've seen so many big elders, senior elders, staying in the school of talent for 15, 20 years, and they'll be talking and preaching, talent is a school, but they are not graduating. But our father is saying, you graduate to become an entrepreneur. So it is very clear in our church that if you get involved in talents, you are supposed to graduate and become an entrepreneur and become a business person. So I want to say to all those that are listening to me that this church has taught me has given me a school. And from that school, they have given me an opportunity to graduate and become an entrepreneur. So nowadays, I no longer speak to people and say, talent is a school. To me, it's no longer a school. To me, I have graduated to become what talent is teaching or what talent school is, which is to become an entrepreneur.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Elder. We must graduate. Thank you so much. That was very powerful. I'll just go back to you, Rejoice, for the next interviewee. Rejoice.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elder Mufar, for giving us some insight into that. It does make sense. You can't be in a school and not graduate or leave with some sort of qualification or coming out having something to show for your education or what you've learned. So thank you so much for that. Next up, I will be interviewing Deacon Joe Kundishora. I know him as my advisor back home in Milton Keynes. So I will just go ahead and thank you for joining us here on our panel, Deacon Kundishora. Just to jump in straight, you have a cleaning company, and I just want to know what inspired you to start your cleaning company, and could you just give us a brief background on your company as well? I think we may have you on mute.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Once again, good to see you, Sister Rejoice, and greetings to everyone. Me and my wife, we are directors in our cleaning company. It's called Rising Star Cleaning Services. We started this company in 2014. Just like the other panelists, this company is a product of the working of talents. When I gave my life to Jesus Christ in 2014, the first thing I saw when I walked in church was people running around with boxes, money flying all over, and I didn't know what was going on until it was explained to me what talents are, what they mean in the church of Zayoja. We grasped the idea, and then we said, how are we going to give to God? We were working, my wife was working, I was working, we had good jobs, but the money was not enough to meet our requirements. So we said, how are we going to give to God? That's when the idea of a cleaning company was hatched. So we started this company in 2014, and we didn't have any cash to start the company. We didn't borrow money. We just started with what we had in the house, like our first job. We just went with the tools that were in the house, the hoover from the house, the materials, cleaning stuff, everything. We did our first job, and from there, the company was born. That's how Rising Star came into being. And our first check from that company is what we used then to recycle, to start the whole thing going. So basically, that's how the company started. And it's good to say the idea of talents gave birth to Rising Star Cleaning Services.
You said you and your wife were both working when you started the company. How did you manage that? Because I can imagine working at the same time starting up a company, there's a lot of time management and going to and fro. So how did you manage working at the same time as starting up your company?
So I was working for a company where I had 3 to 4 days off every week. And at the end of each 5 weeks, I would get 10 days off. So that was how we worked. We didn't have holidays as such. You couldn't apply for holiday because our holidays were already calculated from that setup. So what we used to do is we would look for jobs, and we would fit in those jobs on the days that I was off. So those 3-4 days I was off each week, I'll be doing jobs here and there with a few guys working with me. And when I have my 10 days off, all the other jobs were booked in and executed during that 10-day period. So it went on and on and on from March 2014 up to January 2015. The amount of work now was no longer manageable in those few days that I was off. My wife, who used to join me as well when she was off work or weekends, when she was free, she would join me and we would work together. So in January of 2015, it was no longer manageable. The workload had become too much to be fitted in those days. And that's when I had to hand in my resignation. And I said to them, I'm leaving. So at first they thought there was something wrong with me. And they said, oh, if you need to see someone to talk to, please, HR are happy to help you. I said, no, I don't need help in terms of why I'm leaving. I know why I'm leaving. They say, why? Who is employing you? I said, no one. I said, I'm now employing myself. And it made them even more worried to say, is this guy all right? And so I said, I'm leaving. Here's my business card. If at any point you need me to do your cleaning, let me know. So that's how I left. So from January 2015, I became involved full time in the business. And then 9 months later, in September of the same year, 2015, it was also not manageable for one person to be running the company. So my wife had to resign as well 9 months later. So both of us in September were now working for our cleaning business. And it's good. The company that I used to work for, they did give us a job. 3 months, they rang us and said, oh, we need to try you. So we went. did a job for them, and they were so impressed. It's a very big company that I was working for before, and I should say up to this day, we are still working for that company. We are registered cleaners, and they've given numerous numerous jobs, and so that's how we managed our business. So it just started when I was working, little by little, until it got so unmanageable, and then I give up my work, and my wife had to do the same thing.
Wow. So since then, has it just been you and your wife in handling the business, or how's it then gone on from 2015 when you both left your jobs?
Well, so we started growing and growing, employing one person, second person, third person. So at the moment, we got 6 full-time people working for us. The majority of the people that were working for us are seasonal staff, because we get jobs that are seasonal sometimes, where we go in, maybe we do the job for 3 months, and we finish. I'll give you an example. Builders Cleans, where a building contractor is finished building whatever they are building, be it houses, office complexes, and stuff. So we go in and clean those newly builds. So sometimes it takes us a month, 2 weeks. It just depends on the size of the building. At the moment, we are working on a site in Gloucester, where we started working in February this year, and we hope to finish that project in February next year. So what we do in such circumstances, we employ seasonal staff on contract basis. So we work with them on that project, and when that project is finished, we go to another site. And normally what we do then is to employ contractually those people who are staying near that project, so that they will come from their homes to the site. We work with them, they go back home. Us, we have to drive long distances sometimes to meet them or to inspect and see how they are going. So at the moment, I would say we are working with 6 full-time and about 8 to 12 seasonal staff at the moment.
Wow. So it's gone from just the 2 of you, to now 12 people working on contracts. So it's just growing quite well. I was going to ask, with regards to, we've talked about social media and being able to market yourself. You mentioned how you gave your previous employer a card about your company that you were starting. In what other ways have you also advertised your company? Has it just continued through cards, or how else have you been able to advertise and get through to other companies as well?
Thank you. When we started, this might help us as the youth. It might help someone. It depends on what type of business you want to do. Like I said, we just started from nothing. We had nothing in terms of capital. What we did then was to make our own business cards on the computer at home. We made some flyers at home. And what we used to do, me and my wife, we had flyers in our cars. So wherever we are going, we have these flyers with us, and we'll just dish them out as we go. If we come to a building site, we just go in, ask to see the site manager, give them a flyer. If it's a restaurant, we just pop a flyer through the door. Office buildings, we just push in our cards through the letterbox. So we managed to get some jobs from those flyers. So that's one way of getting jobs. Even up to now, it's something that we can do, but we have stopped doing that for now. Why? Because we are so busy with the customer base that we have at the moment that we're not looking for new contracts at the moment. We just wait for them to come to us. So we are now on Google. So people find us on Google. And also, word has gone from one company to another through word of mouth. It works very well in the cleaning business. You clean, we did, I'll give you an example. We did a job for one customer, and he said, "Oh, I'm so impressed with your work. I've already contacted 4 of my cousins who are running the same business. They were it was a restaurant. It was an Asian guy. He was so impressed, and he said, "I've got 3 other cousins who also have restaurants. I've already told them about you guys. Yeah, their phone numbers, they're going to ring you." So what they did, the 3 cousins did ring us, and we did jobs for those 4 cousins of his. And they were also impressed, and they, in turn, referred us to other cousins. So you can see how the word goes, even with building contractors, the big companies. You work with one quantity surveyor on one site, and then he moves. These are people who move quite a lot from company to company. And when they move, they carry our name with. So what the company that they got, they then refer us when they get there. And then you just get a phone call. "Oh, we are this company, we heard about you from such a person. Are you free to come and have a look at our site and see how you can help us with the cleaning?" So word of mouth does help as well. And also to mention social media, Facebook, Instagram, it does help in spreading our name. So I would say we have used basically most of the means of being known throughout the country. So our business now covers the whole country. We actually go as far as Scotland, and that has come about through word of mouth and obviously being found on Google as well.
That's amazing. So you're now operating at a national level, and hopefully in the future will be international. You'll be going global. A lot of people I'm seeing in the comments are talking about talents, and you mentioned that at the beginning where you spoke about how talents was the seed in sort of giving you that inspiration to start up your company. Would you mind, I guess, elaborating more on just talents and how else it's also propelled you to where you are now, since we're working home talents now?
So yes, I think the first talents we worked after we started our business, and obviously after we joined Forward in Faith Ministries International UK, was the National Center. And because the company was born through talents, we said we're going to give what we can to God. And we did give towards the National Center. And then we also worked with the Zego Talents. And we just said, me and my wife, this company is born out of talents. And whenever talents are asked for, we are going to avail ourselves. We do what we can. I remember when we were working Zego Talents, me and my wife, we set a target. We said we have to give so much, and we worked towards that figure. And then during that same year, I went to Zimbabwe and I visited the Zego. It was still under construction, and I was taken around. I just went there as a visitor, but I got there. One elder took me around every corner of the university, and when I saw the magnitude of the building, I came back and I said to my wife, "My dear, we need to change our measure." And she said, "Why?" I said, "What I saw there, this is not a small project. It's a massive project." And my wife agreed with me. We changed our target and we pushed it up, and we met it, and we gave it to God. So I want to say to those people, maybe you youngsters, I was happy when the other panelists said, "Start now, young people. This is the right time to start." Even working talents, go into these talents, find something to do, and whatever you do, when you are now established as entrepreneurs, when you have your companies, do not forget the work of God. For us as a couple, remember I said to you, we used to make flyers when we started. What we did was, when we printed our flyers, we piled them up on the table, put our hands on them, me and my wife, and we prayed. We'd pray and say, "God, this is what we are doing. We're going to spread these flyers, make them manifest into jobs." Every batch of flyers we used to print, we used to pray before we send them out. So we have learned that whatever we do, wherever we go, however our company is going to grow, we are not going to forget the work of God, and we are not going to forget the working of talents.
Thank you so much. I also have a question here about investing in other areas of business. So is cleaning the only area that you initially wanted to invest into for a business, or were there other areas that you had considered?
At the moment, we are trying not to keep our eggs in one basket. So what we have done is, I must say as well, during this period of coronavirus, our work has actually doubled, if not trebled, because where we used to provide one cleaner, like I'll give you an example, there was a company that has a shutdown every year. For the past 3 years during their shutdown, they would ask for one person to be with them for 12 hours a day cleaning. But this year, because of the coronavirus, they asked for 10 people. So our business has actually become busier now. But at the same time, even though we have become busier and the company is going, we have said, let's not keep our eggs in one basket. So we are investing into other areas. So we are now into care. We just started a care business. That is with my wife and our daughter. Our daughter is very much one area of bringing her into the system, because that's one area she's interested in, because she works for the NHS. So we are bringing her in. So it's 3 of us in that. So care business is 1 and 2. We're now looking into estate. We've invested abroad in Malawi. Where we are buying land and developing that land. At the moment, we are looking at student accommodation. So those are the 2 areas that we have now ventured in to try and spread our wings so we don't keep our eggs in one basket.
Wow, that's amazing. The project in Malawi and going into healthcare, it sounds quite a lot. How have you found handling just venturing into those different areas and managing it all?
So it is through, like one of our panelists said, UKCBF has opened our eyes, attending business meetings with other people. They open your eyes. In our church is so rich with people who are knowledgeable in certain areas of businesses. So we've listened to some people presenting, talking to us, and we even approached some privately just to find out how we can do things. So I would say networking, as mentioned before, is very key as well, because when we go for CBF meetings, we get our emails recorded and things are sent to us, and then we start networking from there. So it's very easy then to identify who we want to speak to and find out more information. That has helped us a lot, to the extent that we are good to go. I know we are busy with cleaning at the moment, but our cleaning business is now running smooth. We're still in the process of putting more measures in place so that we withdraw ourselves and let it run whilst we concentrate to the new babies.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Dikunkundishara. Thank you for just teaching us and helping us understand the importance of talents and just grasping that vision alone, and not just seeing it as something that's just said and passed through, but it's something that we can take away from and learn. I will just leave this time to our brother Gift to interview our next panelist. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rejoice. Thank you so much, Advisor Kundishora. And if you're watching, please, we'll still go 1 more to go. So just make sure you tag someone and let someone know that we're live. There is great knowledge and wisdom, a lot of information coming out. So just make sure you let someone know. Our God is a good God. So tonight we also have the Adams family. So I'll just read their profile quickly before they speak, so you know obviously where they're coming from. So we got elders Elizabeth and Michael Adams successfully run a hair and beauty retail business for 10 years. We also do events, big and small, specializing in event planning, venue decoration, baking, and catering. In March 2020, we grew and expanded our baking business into cutlery and desserts. So Adams family, just tell us, because the interesting thing about the Adams family is you run three businesses. And we just want to know what inspired you to run these three businesses. We can see you run a bakery, retail, and events management. So just tell us what inspired you into starting these businesses.
Greetings, everyone. For having as much as we are learning, so thank you. So I'll just give a little bit of background about myself and what then inspired us to start the business as we did. We moved to Bracknell where we live 2004, and shops that catered for our hair and beauty side of things. And I used to go to London to get products, and for me it was cool. So we then discussed and decided that we start a business here in Bracknell. We like what other panelists have saved funds to start us off. We nothing really. We were both in full-time employment at the time. So what we then did for research, product, we did a market research at the shop where we think customers. So then buying products once we identified suppliers. So we started buying products and then just storing them in the house. We didn't have at the time. So when we had quite a bit of products, then looked into getting a unit of to sell a product. So we started, I think it was end of 2007. Yeah, that's when we then opened the shop. Interestingly, though we had initially targeted the Afro-Caribbean market, we then had asking for hair extension, something that we personally I didn't know that what people wear hair extension. So we then started catering for them, and to be honest with you, they then become market in terms of the hair extension. So from the money that we were getting in, we did not spend it. Invested in the product range, both in cosmetics and hair extensions, wigs, hair pieces. And we ventured a little bit in the grocery section because we then had people coming in saying, "Oh, why didn't you stock this?" Because there were no local shops to cater the market, like I mentioned before. Mr. Adams.
No, I think that's the nutshell.
Yeah, in the hair and beauty section. So then, personally, growing up, I have always, when I'm in the kitchen, I'm in my comfort zone. And I came to sport in faith, beginning of 2000. What is it? I want to thank God that I was blessed to have a group of youth, very encouraging. And I remember after each Sunday service, our Photo Mike, they encourage us to come. So as youth now gather, and we would learn a lot, and he encouraged us to visit our elders. While we then got inspired. I would like to encourage us, you guys, young people, because they tend to see something in me, something that I personally, and they would encourage me. Why don't you get doing this? Why don't you start making money out of your natural God-given talent? Like I said, I would cook, would have gathering. Even when I met handsome husband here, we met youth. I thank God for him because he's very supportive. So when we started our catering business, So he would sometimes stay up with me. 2 a.m. He's cutting up, cooking together, supporting me in business. And what inspired us then was we used to host. We love hosting. So we used to host from relatives, friends, uh, people of God who would just come. We would then host. We'd open our home, and every time we hosted people of God, would lead prayer with us. I would say that, and then they would say, "Why did you get into catering? Why didn't you start a business?" And so we pursued that side of business. And again, we started small. We now at the moment what we are doing when time of coronavirus, for instance, someone is having guests over, they don't really want to spend time in the kitchen. They can call us, and we do all the cooking for them. We deliver food. So we a healthy option of it, if you may say. And with the bakery business started during the time of lockdown. I had started it years back as a hobby, and then grew it into a business. So the interesting thing about the cakery business is, like what we've been is, uh, once you do a great job for a customer, they recommend you to other people. And we were discussing with my husband yesterday, saying, about it is when you have a house of 4, 5, or 6 people, and you've done a great job, they're going to come back to you guaranteed cakes every year. Um,
That's it. I mean, the Bible says, "Do you see a man who is skilled in labor stand before mere ordinary man?" And he is working excellent in whatever he like to those lines. And the market itself, whatever you do. So
Wow. Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great information. And I think even my next question was also answered. I just want to ask you this question. But I can see in the businesses, though there's no care business there, but in United Kingdom, a lot of people are going into healthcare businesses because it's more guaranteed. It's more like a guaranteed business to be successful or more security. Well, I just want to know from you, like, what made you think, okay, cool, starting these businesses different to what other people are doing is going to be successful? And what is your way of marketing? How are you marketing your business for you to be where you are right now? For you to be successful, for you to be where you are right now, what made you think I'm going to do something different to everyone else who's doing the healthcare? We're going to do this business, we're going to do events, we're going to be baking cakes, and we're going to be doing retail. So what made you think you're going to be successful doing these businesses different to what other people are doing? And also, how are you marketing your businesses? Because we can see a lot of youth can relate to this. Because a lot of youth, some of them are starting coffee funds, retail businesses, and everything like that. So we know, like, obviously, they might be looking at you, thinking, okay, cool, they've made it to this level. Like, how do they do it? How do they market? What are the ways of marketing for them to get to where they are?
of course, we all can't sell tomatoes. Someone's going to buy from someone. So I think the care industry is a very lucrative industry. It's not for everyone. The time that we started our business, we looked at getting into a niche market that was not populated, market that was not served in our town. So it was easy to start because that way we are guaranteed of success because the market was there, the customers were there, but there was no supply. So we did our research based on our research. The market was there, so it's an easy place to start with a niche market. So I think basically that's where we started off with that, and it was easy as well. Not a lot of not huge startup capital. So I'd say maybe that's why we started off in the health, and beauty business. Not saying that the healthcare is not an option that's still on the table, but that's where we started. We all have different journeys, but the hand care, hair and beauty business was what was available for us at that time. So, but in terms of how we market ourselves, I mean, when we started, social media wasn't then, so it was largely word of mouth. Plus, the beauty in our church is that when you start, what in faith itself is also the initial market. I mean, you can imagine the number of assemblies we have. So we think that even from your local church, that's your first market will support you, and by word of mouth, the business just grew. That way, even in the town, and in the way we also presented ourselves, like I said earlier on, just doing a good job, a good service, just being kind to people when they come into your shop, make them feel at home, make them feel valued. If they have a good experience in your shop, come in, you talk to them, you're interested in them, they're just not just purely customers, but you develop a relationship. So once people appreciate that, they'll tell the next person, the next person. And some people come to your shop purely because of that relationship. So I think that works for us. When you get a place where you get customers who come to you and say we are praying for you, that means a lot. And customers will say to you, I'm coming from Reading. I could have bought extensions there, but I said no. Let me go to Michael and Elizabeth's shop. So it's how you build a relationship with customers. That can work for you in terms of marketing apart from social media. Nowadays, obviously, you have to employ social media, but word of mouth works for us, and even now, word of mouth and recommendations work for us because if someone buys our cake and they like the quality, they'll recommend. So that's what we're looking for us with recommendation and word of mouth.
Wow. Thank you so much. So we can see here that customer service is very, very important. From what you've said, that customer service was was a key for you to be where you are, and also your marketing. Obviously, you want more people referring other people to you. So there is just one other thing I want to know because we know, like obviously, a lot of people want to start businesses. A lot of people want to be into businesses, but some of them are saying that I do not have time. I'm still doing a course. I'm working full time. Or I'm working part time. And sometimes I don't have time to do this. So we just want to know from you, as you're speaking to the youth, you are a couple. So we know, like, obviously you have a family and all that. How are you able to balance work life and at home? How are you able to balance that for you to be able to start 3 businesses and being able to be successful in those 3 businesses? And so what advice can you give to the young people out there who are thinking that do not have time to be doing this work?
I'll just reiterate what one of our panelists said. Yeah, that business is hard work. What helped us is I'm an avid reader, so I read up as part of my research. Business books will tell you that if you want to start a business, be prepared to work 25-hour days. So that kind of knowledge, you are more prepared to know that come from the Bible, it's hard graft. So, and there's always time. If you're passionate about something, you will make the time. You have to make the time. Only 24 hours in a day, so you have to make the time to get into business and work very hard. Ask Bill Gates, ask all of them. It's the same story that you have to put in the hours, to sacrifice. I mean, I was working back to back. I'm a motor vehicle engineer by profession. I was working back to back from a night shift. Look after the kids, the day shift at the shop, come and sleep for a couple of hours, go to the night shift. In that cycle, same thing that Elder was saying on for a number of years. So I don't think there's any other way. So you just need to know that's how it is. If you're starting from scratch, it's not being handed a million pounds to start you off, but you're starting from scratch, putting the hours, having to sacrifice for a few years as you're laying the foundation. So I can't echo words any that you have to be prepared to work extra hard, but knowing that it's going to pay at the end. Whilst most of your friends parties and having a good time, you are setting yourself up by sacrificing and staying at home and studying and researching and networking and equipping yourself for the future. So I would say there has to be sacrifice time-wise. Cut back on the movies, cut back on a lot of things that are unnecessary. Fashion, if it means you save a little bit, because it's better to start a business with very little borrowing. It just means you've reduced your risk because you start with a business loan and stuff happens sometimes. Businesses fail, so you've reduced your risk if you want to borrow. But if you need yes, you can borrow, but if you can just save a little bit, it means you have to borrow less. So I would say a lot of sacrifice time-wise.
See from what has been saying as well, everyone has also been talking about talents. The same question as I've asked earlier. How has the teachings of the seventh apostle, Professor E.H. Kuti, helped you, or his teachings helped you in the way you run your businesses?
I could spend all day talking about how much I've learned from the apostle of God, from pastors and the church at large. We were inspired teachings. One thing that our father says is in this church, it's not all about just church. He says it's about life. What he says is about life. So you are taught about life. Father says, I just don't want you to receive Jesus Christ and be foolish. In fact, in one of his books, he says, I know God is not going to bless fools. So I got a lot of wisdom from listening to him, reading the books. As I said, I'm an avid reader. I've got a lot of books written by him. Get a lot of wisdom and ideas from. So I think that's where wisdom can help us. A lot of nuggets in those books that you might not get in business books as such. That will help you. A lot of wisdom that will help you to avoid a lot of mistakes. So I would encourage you to buy the books. Make sure you have those as part of your library, because there's wisdom in there that you will not get anywhere else. It's amazing if you take time to read. So I've learned a lot from the books, from the teachings, from the business seminars, when you interact with other people, and so you have to be you have a teachable spirit. That's one thing I've learned from School of Talent or from business school. A teachable spirit, humble yourself and be prepared to learn even new skills, have an open mind. That will help. So I think the School of Talent inspired us to get into business. If it wasn't for that, I don't know, maybe it was just a dream. But we encourage you that you can do it. And give examples of other people have done it. I mean, when you hear stories about people who used to sit on paint tins and moved and progressed, and now they own cars and they own businesses. Some of them are now multi-millionaires. It galvanizes you, inspires you to know that I can do it too. But if you have not come across those examples of the School of Talent, then you don't know any better. But so we inspired so much to know that we could do it, help us to believe in ourselves. And so we are here actually because of the School of Talent, from reading the books of our father. I mean, I read other books on business and it have to be a widely. It will help you in your business if you're very knowledgeable about a lot of things. But yeah, the School of Talent played a key role in making us who we are.
Thank you so much, Elder Adams family. I just want to say thank you so much to all our advisors, the panel, for making yourselves available tonight to come and teach the youth. Unfortunately, we're now running out of time, but I just want to give just 2 minutes just to say something, like maybe a word of advice or something, word of encouragement. Just 2 minutes to each of you, just before we go offline. So I'll just start off with you, Advisor Kundishara, followed by Elder Mufaro, followed by Elder Kanyangu, and finishing off with you, Elder Adam. So can we just go in that order? Just 2 minutes, just to say, just to give us last words.
Thank you very much. All I want to say to the youth is you have the right mindset. I was impressed yesterday when you started the seminar yesterday. The first presenter presented something about the mind. Even Paul talks about the renewal of the mind. Once we have the right mindset to be an entrepreneur, that's the way to go. There's no other formula to be an entrepreneur. You just have to have the right mindset. So from the beginning, talk about it. Speak to yourself. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And what do you want to do afterwards? Be like a chess player. Plan your moves ahead. Make sure I got 2-3 moves that you have planned in your life. And basic thing is the right mindset. Thank you.
Yes, Elder Mufaro.
Thank you. Luke chapter 16, verse 8, the Bible says, the sons of this world are much wiser than the children of the light. So if you look at the word wiser, it simply means doing it or applying. So I want to say to the youth that the sons of the world out there, they are making it. They are rich, they are millionaires. Why? Because they are much wiser according to the word of God, by just applying to it. So I want to say to you all, go and do it. Go and apply it, and you become the wiser one. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Elder Kenyangu.
All right. I just want to say that Proverbs 10 verse 4 says, "Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth." Lazy hands make for poverty. So I just want to encourage every young person to work hard. Believe in yourself. Understand that you can make it. Understand that you can do it. And follow the process. There is a process. And follow the process. Learn the process. I mean, even Jesus Christ, salvation, came and followed the process. He could have just come and declared that let every man be saved. But he was born, he lived, he died, he arose, and now he is with the Father. And now we claim our salvation through it. He followed a process that was there. In order for you to make it in life, never go for shortcuts. Never go for shortcuts. Learn the process. Be diligent in everything that you do. And always learn to work hard. I will lastly say, let's learn from our Father that even at this age that he is at, 97, he is still going around doing the work of God. And God is blessing him. So if you work hard, follow the process, believe in yourself. Not even the sky is the limit. The sky and beyond can be achieved. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder. Adam's family.
The Bible says in Psalm 37, "Delight yourself in the Lord." It also says that wisdom is the precious choice. All that a man had with them. I would say get wisdom, get understanding. It will cost you all you get that wisdom. You read the books that are written by our Father, you get a lot of wisdom to help you. I'm so impressed by the fact that you're on this platform here for success. We're looking forward to see multi-million out from here, because this is a good start, the fact that you are here.
Great. Thank you so much, our elders, from myself and Rejoice, and our panel, Deacon Bishora, Elder Moro, Elder Yango, and Elder Agnes. We just want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for each night and watching these. We just want to say good night to you. God bless you. Rejoice. Any last word before we go?
Thank you so much to all our panelists. Thank you for availing yourselves to just share your wisdom and your knowledge with us. And thank you. I've realized
Wonderful.
that.
Good night. Good
Thank
night.
you. Bye. Thank you.